Water minerals like this one from Third Wave Coffee make the claim that better water leads to better coffee. To find out if that's true, we're conducting a series of tasting tests, comparing pour-over coffee made with distilled water versus water treated with third wave water. 2 tasters, 2 sets of coffee beans. Can we reliably detect a difference? Let's find out. So can adding a few water minerals really make a perceptible difference in a pour-over coffee? These are the minerals I'm using, and the instructions are pretty simple. It says basically just add 1 packet of this into some distilled water. So I have 2 gallons of distilled water here. One of them I'm just going to use as is. I'm going to make coffee with distilled water. So the theory here is that using straight up distilled water is going to create quite a bland, unpleasant tasting coffee, and by adding some minerals to it we should be able to improve things. Let's find out if that's true. So these are very easy to use. Just take one of these packets and add it in. Now, as to what's in here, it contains magnesium sulfate, calcium citrate, and sodium chloride, or salt. In they go. I want to make sure I get them all out. There we go. Then give this a shake until they've fully dissolved. And so I don't get these confused, treated. Okay, so I'm going to make 2 batches of coffee, and I'm going to start with the pure distilled water. Now, while I make these brews, let's think about the expected impact of these water minerals. The mineral balance of water impacts extraction of coffee solubles, and this is especially important with pour over, where the water is in contact with the coffee grounds for a relatively short period of time. Minerals can enhance nuanced flavors, balance acidity and bitterness, and enhance the mouthfeel of the coffee. As for the 3 minerals I've added, well, we've got magnesium sulfate, that's better known as Epsom salt, and that can increase extraction of acidic compounds from coffee. It tends to emphasize fruity and bright flavors. Calcium chloride tends to promote the extraction of heavier compounds. A balanced level of calcium can make the coffee taste richer and more full-bodied. And sodium chloride, that's plain old table salt, has less to do with extraction and more to do with taste, by reducing the perception of bitterness in coffee. Now, to test these coffees, Dan from Home Barista and myself are taking 5 triangle tests. 2 cups contain 1 coffee, perhaps the distilled condition, and 1 cup contains the other coffee, perhaps the treated condition. We mix it up each time. Our job is to pick which is the odd one out, and before we get to the coffee, we figured we'd first see if we can even detect the difference in the 2 waters.
Okay, I'm going to stick with this. That's the distilled, and these are the other 2.
Distilled.
Oh, that's not a good sign. Okay, I'm ready to try it again. We're going to pretend the first one didn't happen. Now, if I can't get this, then it's just going to be you by yourself. Okay. That's my arrangement. Am I any better this time?
You're correct.
All right. The difference I was looking for, though, has as much to do with mouthfeel, of all things. I always describe this as kind of like a cat tongue sort of effect, right? And that's what I was looking for. Let's bring on the coffee and see if the difference is smaller or bigger. Okay. So again, this is closer than I expected. I don't know if I would have picked this particular coffee for this one, because it does have a lot of roast notes on it, which doesn't make life easier, but I'll give it one last try. This is the one that seems the most different, so I'm going to try and match to that one. Okay, so that's what I think I'm going to stick with. Okay, so far we have 1 fail. That's not a good sign. Okay, so this is the second sorting, and I believe that is mineral water, and these 2 are distilled. So for this one, since I've been 0 for 2 so far, this is the 3rd try, we thought, well, maybe it's because we're reusing the cups, so we decided to switch cups. So here we go for a 3rd try to see if there's any chance of salvaging my dignity. Okay. Any better this time?
Nope.
No. I'm really not sure. I'll stay with this. So that's 0 for 4.
Statistically, you're going to get the next one right.
Okay. No. Okay, I'm perfect. I got all 5 wrong, which even by chance would be hard to do.
Well, tough luck, Dan, but at least he was able to distinguish which water was which, a test that I failed at. Okay, red is the outlier. No? Can we do this again? Distilled, treated. Twice.
No.
No. But I did think I was onto something with the actual coffees. All right, I'm going to say, with a tiny bit of confidence, black is the odd one out.
You are correct.
Oh, now which is which?
Black is treated.
Treated. Black to me tasted sharper. These two tasted flatter. But was it a fluke? Okay, that's distilled. Red is the odd one out.
No.
But hold on, before you tell me the answers, here's what I was thinking. See how close I was. Red is distilled, black and green are treated. So red is distilled,
Yes.
green is treated, black was not. So I got close-ish, but close doesn't count. Now, at this point, we ran out of coffee, and Dan suggested we try it again with a lighter roast. So we gave this one last try, taking 3 tests each.
I think this is correct, though I'm a little bit hedgy on these two. But I'm going to stay with this.
Correct?
Really? So I got it right?
You got it right.
Oh my gosh. Too bad. This definitely feels like the outlier. I'm going to stick with that. Drum roll.
You're correct.
Whoa! Wow. There you go.
With the lighter roast beans, the difference seemed more apparent to Dan, but sadly not for me. 0 for 3. So how do we sum this up? That was kind of hard, right?
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, it is a subtle difference.
I can say I couldn't really taste the difference. I felt with the darker roast, there was a difference between flat and sharp, although I was not able to detect it reliably. With the more light roast, the acidic roast, I couldn't tell the difference at all. And it seems like maybe you were the opposite.
Well, for me, and this is funny because we take different approaches to it. You were looking for acidic versus sharp, and I was looking actually for more of a texture difference. One thing I've noticed is that certain coffee preparations affect the viscosity, the oiliness of it, and who knows, maybe the higher acidity makes that easier to detect. I mean, this is all supposition at this point. Does it really matter if for your day-to-day coffee? I mean, if I had prepared randomly one day with distilled and another day with mineral water in your methods, would you have noticed a difference?
Clearly not.
Right. And that's kind of, for those who are espresso fans, a lot of times people insist that you have to have mineral water. I've never tried making espresso with distilled water. And so honestly, I want to try the test with that. Try this yourself and see if it proves to be as easy as you think it will be.
I challenge you to pass this test. It was not as easy as I was expecting.